I slowly approached the picture on the wall. There was a young and beautiful woman in the painting, in the background of the art museum. And she was smiling shyly at me. After looking at the painting for a while, I somehow felt that she was no stranger.
Hello, Mr. Walker.
Lauren, an art museum employee, talked to me, who was into painting. I spoke to Lauren in a low voice, my eyes fixed on the painting. Can you explain about this painting? But Lauren just looked at me instead of answering. Oh man, was I too rude? Turning to Lauren, I asked her again in a more polite way. I apologize if you were offended by my attitude. If you don't mind, could you give me a brief description of this painting? Only then did Lauren sigh and begin to explain the painting.
This painting was painted by a genius artist. If you like this painting, there are other works by this artist over there. Would you like to take a look?
I didn't want to erase the impression of this painting from my head, so I shook my head and refused. No, no thanks. This is enough. I looked at the woman in the painting once again, and bowed lightly to Lauren. Then, I'll leave you for today. Lauren then put her hands together, and bowed her head to me, and said,
All right, please go home safely, Mr. Walker.
Coming out of the art museum, I looked up at the sky for a moment. Perhaps because I lived in a dark environment for a long time, it was hard to open my eyes properly. When I closed my eyes for a while and was exposed to the pouring sunlight, I felt faint and dazed. Oh, it's nice. As soon as I opened my eyes again, I couldn't believe the scene before my eyes. This is because the woman in the painting I saw at the art museum was walking toward me. And just in front of me, she greeted me with a shy smile.
Hello, isn't the weather so nice?
I rubbed my face with my palms several times, as if I were washing my face, and then looked at her again with my eyes wide open. But the person in front of me was definitely her in the picture. Oh my God, what the? Then she tilted her head once, as if it were strange, and asked again.
What's wrong? Are you not feeling well anywhere?
It was definitely her in the picture. As I was distracted, I tried to support my body by holding my heart, which was beating violently as if it was about to explode, with one hand, and holding the railing of the stairs with the other hand. Then this time, a burly man who appeared from somewhere asked, supporting me.
Are you all right? May I take you to the hospital?
I leaned against the man and closed my eyes for a moment. After taking a few deep breaths, I felt my mind clear again, and my legs returned. I patted the back of the hand of the man who helped me, and said, I'm all right now, thank you. But the man still looked worried.
Are you sure? Do you want me to take you to the hospital now?
Instead of answering the man's words, I shook my head, and looked at her. She was still standing there looking at me, and the man who was watching for a while soon left me. Are you here to see the painting? I asked her in a trembling voice. She answered my question with a bright smile.
Not necessarily. The weather was nice, so I walked as far as I could and ended up here.
She went on and on.
What do you think? Is there a nice picture inside?
After thinking hard, I decided to solve this mystery and told her. Yes, there is. There's a wonderful picture in there that you'll be surprised to see.
Really? Wow, I'm looking forward to this.
She walked toward the museum with an excited look on her face, and I took a deep breath and slowly followed her. And just as she was opening the museum door, She looked back at me and asked.
I'm Ariel. What about you? What should I call you?
Walker. My name is Walker.
Walker, Walker.
Looking at me and repeating my name a few times, she said, pulling at the museum door.
Let's go, Mr. Walker.
She said so and disappeared into the museum, and I followed her with trembling steps.
Oh, Mr. Walker.
When I went inside, Lauren greeted me with a surprised face.
What's going on? Did you leave anything behind?
No, it's not like that. I looked around the museum answering Lauren's question half-heartedly. But there was no Ariel here. What the hell is going on? I muttered out loud without realizing it, and Lauren asked me again.
Mr. Walker, is there anything I can do for you?
Looking around the museum once again, and I asked Lauren. Where did she go?
Who are you talking about?
Angry, I once again asked Lauren, screaming. Ariel, the woman who just came in. Lauren raised one hand, stopped the approaching guard, and spoke to me in a friendly voice.
I see, I'll let you meet Ariel, so calm down, okay?
Only then did I realize that I was clutching Lauren's shoulders, so I hurriedly took my hand off her, and apologized. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Lauren grabbed my hand without saying a word, and slowly walked toward one wall of the museum.
Look, Ariel is here. Ariel is not going anywhere. So, whenever you want to see Ariel, you can come here.
As Lauren said, there was no doubt Ariel in the painting on the wall. I'm no longer able to tell what is what. I don't remember exactly how I lost my mind, but when I opened my eyes, I was lying in the hospital. There was no one in this room, which looked around and looked like a single room. When I regained my senses, I tried to distinguish how far it was real and how far it was fantasy, but the only thing that came was a headache. What's going on? The door opened with a knock. The person who came inside looked like he had seen it somewhere. You.
Are you coming to your senses?
Once again, the sturdy man standing in front of me was the same man who supported me in front of the art museum. How did you get here? The short-haired, burly man had no answer. I asked him again. Excuse me, what's your name?
Bruce, my name is Bruce.
Bruce. I put my thoughts together for a while and asked Bruce. Did you move me here?
Yes, Mr. Walker.
How did you get my name? Bruce didn't answer again this time. Confused, I looked out the window for a moment. The scenery beyond the window seemed really calm and peaceful. All right, Mr. Bruce. Can you explain it to me? How did I get here?
Mr. Walker, you lost your mind at the art museum. Lauren, who was with you, told me that, and I brought you here right away, that's all.
Only then did I feel a little relieved. Oh yes, you knew Lauren. But that wasn't what mattered to me. Was there anyone else there?
Who are you talking about?
The person who was talking to me in front of the museum. You saw her, didn't you? Bruce was a hard-to-read type of person. But I could see a momentary flash of embarrassment in Bruce's face.
Who was there?
When I felt Bruce was hiding something from me, I couldn't bear it, so I asked him out loud again. What are you talking about? You saw her too. The young woman who was talking to me. I'm asking you if you haven't seen her. Two male nurses opened the door, and tried to come inside, as if they could hear me shouting outside the hospital room. But Bruce let the two out again, and quietly closed the door, and returned. Mr. Walker, I couldn't care less about anything else at the moment, because I was checking your condition. So I don't know who was with you at the time. Bruce's soft voice softened my heart. And maybe because of the scream, fatigue and drowsiness rushed in an instant. I lay in bed, closed my eyes, and spoke quietly to Bruce. Okay? I'm going to have to get some sleep, so I'd appreciate it if you could leave.
I see, take a good rest, Mr. Walker.
I fell asleep even before Bruce's footsteps disappeared out of the hospital room. When I woke up and looked around, Bruce sat in a chair, dozing off and guarding the hospital room. No. Hey. Bruce, who opened his eyes to my voice, rose from his chair and approached me.
You're awake.
The afternoon sun poured into the hospital room as Bruce reached out and pulled back the curtains. Mr. Bruce, why are you still here? Bruce smiled faintly instead of answering. And to me, that smile of Bruce somehow seemed a little sad.
I talked to the doctor a while ago, and he said you could leave the hospital. I'll take you home.
No. Why would you? You don't have to do that, and I didn't mean to owe you this much. As I said that, I thought something was wrong for a moment. What about my family? Where are my family? I looked around once again, but all I had with me was Bruce, who looked at me with a sad face. Wait. Family. I was confused again. Did I have a family? I asked him, leaving myself to Bruce's touch that helped me. Hey, Bruce.
Go ahead, Mr. Walker.
Do I have a family? Bruce spoke in a quiet voice instead of answering my question.
Don't worry about anything. I'll take you home safely.
In the back of the car, I was lost in thought as I watched Bruce behind the wheel. However, no matter how hard I tried to look back on the days I lived, only pieces of broken memories sometimes passed through my head.
Are you okay?
And the very moment Bruce looked back at me anxiously, I was finally able to create a female figure out of the pieces. Right? Wife. I had a wife. I grabbed Bruce by the shoulder with one hand, and said in a trembling voice, Bruce, go to the museum, right now.
What, are you sure?
It was clear that the woman was Ariel. When I arrived at the art museum, I slowly walked toward the main gate. And in front of the main gate, there was Ariel, who welcomed me with a bright smile. Ariel. Ariel reached out her hands to me.
I've been waiting for you.
I've already become a gray-haired old man with wrinkles on my face, but Ariel was the same as long time ago when we first met. How can this be? Hot tears flowed from my eyes, and Ariel looked at me with a friendly look without a word. As I looked at her like that, the past days that had disappeared from my memory finally began to come back. Yes, that's right, Ariel, you're always by my side. My past days, as a poor painter obsessed with madness, and Ariel who married me, and always stood by me, without a word of complaint. Ariel wiped away my tears, and said softly,
Go in, please. There's your picture in there. The masterpieces you've done with all your might.
Ariel disappeared after saying that. I walked slowly into the art museum.
Oh my goodness, Mr. Walker, are you feeling better?
I said in a trembling voice to Lauren, who was greeting me. Ariel, I want to see Ariel. Lauren, who nodded quietly, once again led me to the painting, and Ariel in the painting was still looking at me in an unwavering manner. I slowly turned to check the artist and the subject of the painting. My wife, Theodore Walker. I felt a slight dizziness in my head.
Mr. Walker, are you all right?
I'm okay. Could you elaborate on this painting a little bit more? Lauren looked at me with an embarrassed look on her face. I patted her on the shoulder and said softly, "It's all right, I'm sober right now, so." When I said so, Lauren finally began to explain.
Yes, this is a painting that you painted 50 years ago. Your name, who was unknown, became known to the world through this work.
I couldn't hear Lauren anymore. It was just all in vain. So this person, where is Ariel now?
What?
Lauren looked perplexed once again. I'm all right. I'm all right, so tell me the truth. But this time Lauren could hardly open her mouth. As I nodded slowly at Lauren once more, she said in a low voice,
This woman does not exist in this world.
Tears fell from my eyes once again. Yeah, I guess so, since a lot of time has passed. When I opened my closed eyes, I looked at Ariel once more for the last time and turned, and Lauren followed, and saw me off. Miss Lauren, do you happen to know how old I am? For some time I've even forgotten to count my years.
Yes, you're 87 this year.
87. Yes, that's my age. Coming out of the museum, I got back into the car Bruce was driving.
Shall I take you home?
Okay, I'm going to get some sleep, so wake me up when I get home.
Yes, sir.
I closed my eyes and thought quietly. Yeah, Ariel came to take me. It's time for me to go too. When I got home, I immediately called a lawyer and started writing a will. I will inherit $1 million of my bank deposit to Bruce, an attendant who has faithfully cared for me over the past decade.
No way, Mr. Walker.
I smiled at Bruce, who looked at me with a surprised look on his face, and kept leaving a will. I will inherit all of my paintings in the museum to Miss Lauren, so please tell her to take good care of them. And spend all the rest of my wealth for the lonely and marginalized. After finishing my will, I quietly got up from my seat and headed for the bedroom. It's all over, everything. A month later, I ended my long and lonely life, while Bruce and Lauren watching. And I sincerely thank the two of them, that at least my last moments were not alone.